What's up, heroes? Here's my review of episode 18 and also a breakdown focusing on all the cool symbolism and theories that we can take from this episode. Speaking of the episode, it starts with Mitsuru and Kokoro looking out to a Sakura tree. This symbolizes a beautiful yet fragile and short life, and we see this perfectly foreshadows the events of the wedding that happens later on the episode. The next scene, we find Ichigo and Hachi talking, and we learn that Squad 13 will be taken back to a parasite camp to await their next mission. And as the scene transitions, we cut to a brief exchange between Hiro and Goro, where we find that Goro's fever has still not broken, but that's all that we find out about that fever for now. As the next arc of the episode revolves around a wedding between Kokoro and Mitsuru, spurred on by Hiro, based off the wedding from the fairy tale book itself. Now, Goro, being the voice of reason as always, mentions how dangerous this is, given what the Nines and Hachi told the squad earlier. But, of course, nobody really listens to Goro, and the wedding ensues. However, we do get a confession between Ikuno and Ichigo. Ikuno explains how she resents the Franxx system since male and female goes against her feelings, her love for Ichigo. And while Ichigo is taken back at first, she quickly realizes that Ikuno is simply going through what she went through before, regarding Hiro and his love for 02. So she accepts Ikuno's feelings and supports her, but it's definitely clear that it's not a mutual thing going on here. And as that scene ends, we cut to one of the most interesting scenes of the episode. 02, dreaming or hallucinating, that parasite Stammen zombies rise from the ground and pull her into a pit that they came from. But just then, we see the giant Calaxosaur arm from episode 16, I believe it was, rise up once again and reach out for her. And just like that, she wakes up. But what does that scene mean? Well, in my opinion, it either means that the parasites actually are linked to the Calaxosaur, and this reminds me of the theory I published a few days ago explaining how I believe that the parasites could have originally been created as cores to power the Calaxosaur, and that the Calaxosaur's original purpose was to assist humanity in mining magma, but things went horribly wrong. Alternatively, this scene could symbolize that 02 has regret for all those lives that she's taken piloting the Franxx against the Calaxosaur under the orders of Ape. Now, as dark of a scene as that is, the next one is much more lighthearted, as 02 and Hiro walk up to the Sakura trees together, reminiscent of episode 1, but flipped, as Hiro comments on how beautiful the time he spends with 02 is. This further enforces the similarities between 02 and Hiro, and the classic red and blue Oni trope, and how the two of them play off each other. But just then, as the wedding begins, we see Hachi watching the events unfold through the surveillance cameras, but he doesn't do anything to stop it. However, somebody does. That somebody is 9 Alpha, and he calls Hachi to inform him that the Nines and some ape troops are coming in an ape assault ship to take Kokoro and Mitsuru back. Just as the wedding concludes, the Nines and the ape members show up, taking Kokoro and Mitsuru indeed. 02 fights back against the Nines, but she is heavily outnumbered and makes no progress. The newly married couple is taken from Squad 13. Hachi actually does come outside to witness the events in person. Now, this is interesting because later in the episode, he looks to Nana for advice on how to comfort Squad 13, saying that he isn't sure how to do so because he feels no emotions. This, in my opinion, is an amazing scene because it's clear that Hachi does feel emotion, but he's in denial. This is proven earlier with how he did run outside to Kokoro and Mitsuru, watching them being taken away in person, rather than just staying inside and watching from the cameras like he could have been, like 9 Alpha assumed he would. Plus, the fact that he actually looked to Nana for advice, who, by the way, seems to be quarantined. We can assume this is due to her regression into puberty as mentioned last episode. But all that together shows that Hachi is conflicted, and we might see him helping Squad 13 later on, even though he's not trying to do it so directly at the moment. Speaking of Nana and Hachi, though, we find out that they were absolutely in a team together, but they weren't actually partners, and Nana had lost her previous partner in battle. Anyways, as the episode concludes, we once again get an ape scene near the end. There's a lot to take note of from this scene. First of all, it seems ape is somewhat divided, as not all the members knew the meeting with the Calaxosaur princess would involve an assassination attempt. We also find out the goal of ape finally, and that is that ape wishes for ape and humanity to live eternally. It's also heavily implied, one could argue even confirmed, that some of ape are already ascended, while others are still quote-unquote human. The very last scene of this episode shows Kokoro and Mitsuru reuniting with Squad 13, having just underwent memory alteration. The two of them don't remember the wedding, and they don't even really remember each other at all. Kokoro does seem to remember certain things though, as when she's walking alone through the hallways of the parasite camp, she gets an image of the Sakura trees in her mind. As I said in the beginning of this review, the episode started with Kokoro and Mitsuru looking out to the Sakura trees, the symbolism of a beautiful but short life. And we see their lives literally play out to that motif. And it comes full circle as the episode closes out on the sparks of revolution through Hero's closing monologue. The rebellion arc is coming, and the Nines are set up perfectly to be Squad 13's hindrance during it. But what will Nana, Hachi, and Dr.Franxx involvement be? That's what I'm really curious about. Leave me your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, definitely hit that thumbs up, and consider subscribing if you're not for more amazing, darling in the Franxx content just like this. If you do so, well, I'll see ya next time.
もう僕らは委ねない。僕らはもう限界だ。